Joe Rogan has some thoughts on Mamdani's spending plans, which reportedly include $1.2 billion for migrants coming to New York City.
He's a psychopath. Like, the amount for migrants is crazy. There should be $0 for illegal immigrants. But that's zero.
New York Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani feeling the heat and facing brutal backlash after announcing his record $127 billion budget. Mamdani's plan includes raising property taxes by 9.5% on New York City residents, while allocating $1.2 billion for migrants.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani, you are out your goddamn mind. To want to raise our property taxes in Southeast Queens all across the city.
Mayor, you came in with a good talk, but you're not walking the good walk.
The water went up, the gas went up, light bill went up. Now property taxes? What exactly are we doing here?
Do your job as mayor and leave our taxes out.
This budget that he put together, he is merely focused on illegals. He is not focused on the American people. He's not focused on the taxpayers. If he accomplishes raising the New York City property tax, it is going to be a domino effect and the black community will feel it first.
What's up, everybody? It's your Huckleberry back with another Nate the Lawyer reaction. And this one's coming right off the heels of the last one that we did from Nate that was involving Mamdani in New York and how he's trying to tax. There's been, some further updates and backlash from what he's doing, as you could see from the intro there. So when I noticed that Nate had done another video about it, I wanted to follow up and react with you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, let's get it.
So the mayor of New York City wants to spend another $1.2 billion on illegal immigrants by raising poor people's taxes. All right, welcome back to the channel. We are in New York City with Mayor Zohran Mamdani, and he just dropped his first budget, and it is a monster. And what I mean by a monster, Mamdani wants to spend $11 billion more than the city spent last year, so he's increasing the budget by $11 billion.
Yeah, the mayor is going forward with his preliminary $127 billion budget. Now, that's an increase of $11 billion from the current year. Now, if Albany don't go ahead with his request to tax the rich, then it's all going to fall back on New York City homeowners.
Now, I know this is going to be confusing because New York City says they want to spend $11 billion more than last year. But then, remember earlier this year, Mamdani came out and said, hey, we got a $12 billion budget deficit.
I want to speak directly to New Yorkers who have for too long been misled and misinformed about the true state of our city's finances. I will be blunt. New York City is facing a serious fiscal crisis. There is a massive fiscal deficit in our city's budget to the tune of at least $12 billion. We did not arrive at this place by accident. This crisis has a name and a chief architect. In the words of the Jackson 5, it's as easy as ABC. This is the Adams budget crisis.
Now, interestingly enough, Zohran says the New Yorkers were misinformed. But Eric Adams, who he's blaming for this $12 billion hole, actually said that there was going to be a $12 billion hole 2 years ago. Here he is on camera saying that, hey, we're going to have a $12 billion hole because we're paying for illegal immigrants.
With more than 57,300 individuals currently in our care on an average night, it amounts to $9.8 million a day.
The price tag unsustainable and could lead to even more cuts to city services and cuts to migrant services.
The mayor today saying if the federal government doesn't come up with a real decompression strategy and reimburse the city for all its spending on this national crisis, New York City taxpayers will be on the hook for about $4 billion each year for the next 3 years.
$12 billion. That has to come from somewhere.
That $12 billion figure, which the mayor says will inevitably impact all city services, factors in the current rate of arrivals.
So we continue to do an average of 2,500 a week. 5,000 every 2 weeks, 10,000 a month. You don't have to be a mathematician to understand what this is doing to our city.
So now you have this $12 billion budget deficit. So Mamdani said, hey, we're going to do like they tried to do in Chicago, just tax the rich. But there are two problems with that. Number one, it's an election year for the governor. So if she starts raising taxes, she's going to lose her job. So the governor's like, I'm not raising taxes, even though the mayor of New York City is begging me to raise taxes.
I'm not wavering from my position that I don't want to drive more people out of our state by increasing taxes from what is already a high tax state. I'm the one who's trying to cut taxes.
So understanding that reality, the New York City mayor is like...
She also is part of the reason why there's so many people there, though. She helped declare the sanctuary status and said that it was okay for people to show up. So even though she seems like she's potentially the good guy in this equation, she's also part of the problem.
I'm not going to get her to raise taxes in an election year, but he may be able to strong arm her a little bit. See, New York City can't raise income taxes without state approval, and the state's saying, like, we're not doing that. But they could raise property taxes on their own. So Zohran says he's going to raise property taxes on everybody about 10% to close that $12 billion budget gap.
The mayor laid out two paths. He prefers the first, which is that income tax increase on millionaires, but that requires Albany's sign-off. And Governor Kathy Hochul, who is running for re-election, has said she is not raising income taxes anytime soon.
If we cannot follow this first path, we will be forced onto a much more damaging path of last resort, one where we have to use the only tools at the city's disposal: raising property taxes and raiding our reserves. The second path is painful. We will continue to work with Albany to avoid it.
Now, this is the point where things get a little strange. See, I've been saying $12 billion budget deficit, $12 billion budget deficit, but it's actually about $5 billion now. Why? Well, because Wall Street came through, and the Wall Street $5 billion now. Why? Well, because strange. See, I've been saying $12 billion budget deficit, $12 billion budget deficit, but it's actually about $5 billion now. Why? Well, because Wall Street came through, and the Wall Street bonuses that are taxed in New York City came through and knocked off about $5 or $6 billion off of that price. Then the state came through and knocked off a couple of more billion from that price. So New York City has about a $5 billion budget gap.
Are you being conservative right now in your estimates of what the Wall Street revenue is going to be? We saw the state have a banner year, $17 billion more than they thought they would get. Are you assuming that the Wall Street bonuses are going to go down?
We are encouraged by what we are hearing around Wall Street bonuses as well as by increased revenue. However, the scale of this deficit of $12 billion is such that it will not be covered no matter what that news is.
Interesting is like all of a sudden, just within like 6 weeks, they found $1.something billion in stuff that they didn't need.
Well, remember, late last year, the deficit was $12 billion, and then all of a sudden it was now down to $7 billion, and now we've closed that to $5.4 billion with the inclusion of state money that the governor sent the other day. So
they got to look at some of the pork. They got to look at some of the pork that they're just throwing around.
So now we're down to $5 billion. So the question is, well, what is that $5 billion? What do you want to spend that money on? Here are some of the things that Mamdani wants to spend that $5 billion on doing.
I'll make buses fast and free,
so I can just get where I'm going.
I'll make childcare available to all New Yorkers at no cost.
I want to raise my kid in New York.
And I'll freeze the rent for every single rent-stabilized tenant.
These Eric Adams rent hikes are killing us.
Now, all that sounds fantastic, but out of that $5 billion that he wants to raise to pay for all that free stuff, 20% of that, $1.2 billion of that, he actually wants to use to give away to illegal immigrants. I am not joking.
He's a psychopath. The amount for migrants is crazy. There should be $0 for illegal immigrants.
But
zero.
I don't think you can have zero, because if they're going to be there, they're going to be. You have to feed them. You have to do something with them. Like literally, if you don't feed them, they're going to be robbing stores. They have to. Human beings need food. What are you going to do?
Get them jobs.
How are you going to get a migrant a job?
Get them a job in Guatemala.
Wouldn't you rather give them food than a job? I don't want them taking American citizens' jobs.
Well, the whole thing's a mess.
The whole thing's a mess. But the point is, you can't just throw them away.
Right.
That's the
Unless
problem.
you're going to remove them from the country.
And while Mamdani plans to dish out money to illegals, he plans to crush taxpayers.
In order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits trust reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
New York City residents are livid.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani, you are out your goddamn mind. To want to raise our property taxes in Southeast Queens all across the city.
Mayor, you came in with a good talk, but you're not walking the good walk.
The water went up, the gas went up, light bill went up. Now property taxes? What exactly are we doing here?
Do your job as mayor and leave our taxes out.
Just so we're clear, the mayor of New York City wants to really raise taxes to give people free stuff, free bus rides, free this. And he also wants 20% of that, right, over $1 billion of the tax money, to go to illegal migrants, which is insanity. Now, if the mayor's going to raise property taxes, he's got to get to the city council, and the city council's like, hell to the nah.
Hey, Bianca, Natasha. So City Council Speaker Julie Menin telling us today that raising property taxes is not even an option that the council will consider right now. The speaker was here in Queens at a separate event and said that she's been bombarded with messages from people who are concerned about the mayor's property tax proposal that would hike property taxes by 9.5%.
The governor has made clear that she is not raising taxes. So with that said, we think we need to really focus on saving. We cannot be raising property taxes on the backs of small property owners, on the backs of renters, on the back of small businesses. That will worsen the affordability crisis. So that is clearly off the table for us.
All right, so here's my question. If you're a New York City homeowner looking at a potential 10% property tax hike, and you find out that $1.2 billion or 20% of that new budget is going to illegal immigrants, while the overall budget has jumped $11 billion from one year to the next. Well, how do you feel about that? Do you feel Mamdani is trying to use this crisis as an excuse to fund his socialist agenda on your dime?
Yeah, he definitely is. He's totally taking advantage of all the legal taxpayers to support all the non-legal taxpayers. But this is a hole that was starting to get dug a long time ago. I alluded to the fact that, watching it crash and burn might be what's best, just so the realization of all these people that voted for this, they come to, so they now vote the other way next time they have an opportunity. You don't want to see that because people suffer, but they're not learning and they're just being complacent in it. At least they were. Now with those clips of people like you standing up, like, what are we doing here? Make the lawyer, go like and subscribe. And while we're talking about like and subscribing, give me a like down below. I would appreciate it. Just starting out this journey on YouTube, and I'm quite enjoying it despite the results I'm having. So you're going to keep seeing me, especially if you like and subscribe. So I do appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. You're a daisy if you do. And until then, peace.